So, Assalamu alaikum. Today we will be discussing about the administration and management, but more we will talk about the management. Administration is just small glimpse, okay? But it will cover in both cases. So, what is administration? This is the systematic ordering of affairs and calculated use of resources aimed at making those things happen, which one want to happen. So this was given by Mr. F. Marx in 1964. And another one was given organization and direction of human and material resources to achieve the desired ends. So these are only the theoretical aspects. For me, in the exam, I will not ask anything about these definition things. If you can describe even in Bangla, and if I feel that yes, you understood the matter well, you will get the pass marks. But I have given it here only for the reason that you will be facing these definition kinds of things in your exams, because there are many teachers those are still interested in asking definitions. But for me, no. I will only ask definition if I feel that someone is willing to have a fail grade. So if I ask someone a definition, he or she will understand that he is going to have a fail grade. Okay. So be careful in this aspect. So there are different definitions of administration. It is a determined action taken in pursuit of a conscious purpose. It is concerned with the achievement of given purpose or getting things done, not like doing things. Okay, this is what administration is. It involves organization, it involves economy, it involves effectiveness, it involves efficiency. We will come about these things later. Now, what is management? Management is the attainment of organization and goals in an effective and efficient manner. So you see, we talked about effectiveness and efficiency in the previous slide. Now we are having this. In an effective and efficient manner through planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling organizational resources. But you have to remember these things. Okay, what are the management functions? So here you can see 5. Some books have written 4. Some books are talking about these 5 functions. So you have to remember and understand those 5 things. All right. This the organizational resources, it includes men, that is a human being, money, machine, and material. So 4M, money. Before we talked about man, money, material, but here you see that machines are also important. And in some of our lecture classes, I mean, not the lecture class, in some of the organizational settings, say, for example, if we go for higher level of organizational setup, there you will find another M, but yeah, not now. That M is manipulation. To get things done, you need sometimes manipulations also. What is a manager? Manager is someone who coordinates and oversees the work of the other people in order to accomplish organizational goals. There are different kinds of managers. The top managers, or yeah, someone may ask you the pyramids of the managerial types. You may be asked in the exam hall. So there are 4 types, sometimes 3 types. In different books, it's written in different way. the top managers whose responsibility to execute the direction of the organization, and that top manager is responsible for creating the context for change and staffing, and try to initiate or install the organizational culture via language and action. That means that very particular organization should have their own language and own action. Say, for example, if we take our example in medical science. So sometimes you'll find that the teachers are using medical terms to denote some social problem, okay, like this. Kinds of managers. The middle managers, they are responsible for setting the objectives consistent with the top management's goal, planning and implementing subunit strategies for achieving the objectives, coordinating and linking groups, monitoring and managing the subunits, and implementing the strategies developed by the top managers. So it can be kind of the plant manager, regional manager, divisional manager. That means who are not in the central system. First line managers. So in most of the books, you will find these first line managers are renamed or are called as lowest level managers. But we are trying to differentiate the lowest level into two more parts. So first line manager is responsible for managing the performance of entry-level employees, train, teach, encourage, monitor, and reward, and the scheduling, the office management, the shift supervisor, or the department managers. The team leaders, there is another type of manager. The team leaders is responsible for facilitating the team activities towards goal accomplishment and help team members to plan and schedule the work, learn the problem-solving methods, work effectively within each other, and foster the internal and external relationships. And like there are already the name of team leader in some organizations, or team contact or group facilitator. So here are just a pictorial description, understanding of just I just took it from internet. This picture was taken. So different level, different responsibilities. Just if you can look at these, you can memorize. Now come to the term efficiency and effectiveness. Okay, so efficiency is getting the most output from the least amount of inputs, whereas the effectiveness is do those work activities that will help the organization reach its goal. Efficiency is doing things right. That means I wanted you to do this, you will just do this, nothing. But effectiveness is doing the right things. That means you can do and you can come up with the same output, but in a different manner. So maybe my skill is poor, but your skill is better. So you do the right things with your own understanding. And my understanding is just, I want to get things done, doing things right, correctly. You will, when you come to the class, you will first sign to be present in the class. So this is one thing, doing things right. But doing the right things is that sometimes that some teachers or some managers, they think that, okay, if you are present in the class, you will be regarded as present. No need to sign. So this is the difference. Efficiency concerned with the means, there's the ways of getting things done. And effectiveness is concerned with the end result, that is the result of the organizational goal achievements. Okay. Same thing written in a different way. Getting work done with a minimum effort, expense, or waste, accomplish tasks that help fulfill organizational objectives. Efficiency, use resources, people, money, raw material wisely and cost effectively. And effectiveness, you make the right decision and successfully carry that decision out to accomplish the organizational goal. I told you that there are different types of management functions. The manager does these types of activities: planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. But we will come to know that there are some other management functions classification also added with these four. So we will come to know all about this. So what is planning? It's defining the goals, establish the strategies for achieving those goals, develop the plans to integrate and coordinate activities, and setting goals and plans. So planning means we set our goals and then we start how to achieve them. Organizing, so we have to determine what task. So we have to determine the task that needed to be done and who is to do them. That means who will do the work, how the tasks are to be grouped, whether we will be any responsible, we will foster some responsible person for this grouping or not, who reports to whom, and where decisions are to be made. So that means the organizing is to arrange the tasks and other resources to accomplish the goal. Leading through motivating the subordinates, through motivating the lower positions, help resource group conflicts. So you will find that in any parts of the world, in any group, there will be conflict. Even you can find conflicts within yourselves. When you have entered in this medical school, you will find some friends are close to each other, some are not. Some friends like some others, and some friends they do not like the others. So this is the conflicts. But you know, in an organization, we need to resolve this. There should be no conflict. There should be conflict, but there should be resolution also. So this is very important. Influence the individuals or teams as they work. Select the most effective communication channel. Deal with employee behavior issues. That means hire, train, motivate, and lead. So like this, hire, train. So hiring is and training, and then motivating. So motivating is another part. So in some of the researchers or the social specialists, they want to define this hiring and training into a separate heading. We will come to this later. Controlling, monitor the activities performance, compare the actual performance with the set goals, and then evaluate the activities performance where things are going as planned, and correct any disturbances to get work back on track and achieve the set goals. So ensure all activities are accomplished as planned. I told you that there are some different definitions of management, and this one, staffing, is an extra given by some other groups. So we will be talking about those things. Planning, we already talked about it, so I don't want to give it any emphasis here. So this is something we need to remember while planning. We have to set or sit first with our purpose or mission, and then we need to set the objectives, and then how we will be able to achieve those objectives is through some strategies. So we need to write down the strategies too, and then what policies should we follow, because there are different policies for different activities. So to achieve our objective and to go through these strategies, what policies should we follow, and then the procedures, the rules, and the programs, and also the budgets. So when we will be planning, we will have to remember these things in our mind. Principles of planning: take time to plan, and planning can be in both ways, top to down, bottom to top. So if we think about in the most of the organizations in Bangladesh, What do you think? Is it top to bottom or bottom to top? Commonly, any idea? I want response from you. বাংলাদেশে যে সমস্ত অর্গানাইজেশনাল প্ল্যানিং আছে সেগুলো কি রকম, টপ টু বটম না বটম টু টপ?
বটম টু টপ।
বটম টু টপ। আচ্ছা, উদাহরণ? Can you give me an example?
Sir, top to bottom, sir.
One by one. Yes.
Family planning, sir. Birth rate control.
Okay, whose decision is this? Who planned this family planning?
Sir, NGO.
NGO, or NGO carry out the plan. But who has allowed the NGOs to work?
Sir, government.
Government. So now you tell me, what is the approach?
এটা আসলে টপ টু বটম হবে।
Top to bottom, yes. In Bangladesh, most of the activities on planning are top to bottom. Government decides, and then they throw out something, and the lower orders they have to follow. Like you have already gained the experience that government decided that, oh, all the teachers of the medical schools, they should be driven to the hospital for this COVID activity. And they have given this order. They didn't even evaluate the feasibility of this order. And that is the reason, though I am in this class, but officially I have joined the Corona unit, you know? So this is what is going on. Most of the time in Bangladesh, there is very less voice from the bottom. Say, for example, the last 1 year, you were experiencing a very different types of phenomenon throughout the world. Was there any initiative that, okay, what to do during this Corona situation? We will have some voice from the students. Was there any approach? No, there was none. So that means the approach is always, now government decided that you will have the Corona vaccine, and then your classes will resume. So this is also a decision taken by the top management, no bottom management decision. So in the bottom management, there might be some saying, or there might be some ways, but nobody knows what you think. But if there was a system of bottom to top, then the system should be like this. First, take the opinions of the students, and the teachers will collect the opinions of the students, and the teachers will make an average opinion structure, because most or some of the opinions will be common. So we do not need to write one opinion 200 times or 100 times. We can write one opinion once, and then against this, we can write that, yes, 100 students, this is the highest common opinion that we got from the students or from the medical students, like this. And then the teachers will assimilate those opinions, and then they will make a summary opinion statement to the top. And then from the top, it will go to the very central level, the ministry, and the ministry will work out, okay, this is what they're thinking, and then we will follow this. This is called bottom to top, but unfortunately, there is no. 1 or 2 times Bangladesh tried, like in 1998, there was a program in Bangladesh It's called TFIPP, Thana Functional Improvement Pilot Project. It was started in 5 Thana hospitals, the Upazila level hospitals. And then with the finding of their Thana functional improvement, they have started a program in Bangladesh, which is called LLP. You have no idea of this. LLP is local level planning. So local level planning, that means all the Thana managers in the Thana health complex, that is the Upazila health complex or Upazila hospitals, they will make their annual plan that, yes, I have a plan for the next 1 year. Probably I need these many drugs, and there are names of all the different diseases, not only individual diseases, but in a group. And then they have started submitting. I need to repair my car, otherwise I cannot run, I cannot move, so I need this budget. And then the budget is also there. In this way, all the, at that time it was 460 Thana health complexes, they have submitted their annual plan to the central level, and that central level then executed the orders, and it worked from 2002, 3, 4. But then after that, it was just cancelled. Why? Because the top level managers, they understood that, oh, if we give the authority to the lower people or the lower level managers, then we don't have the authority. We can't say anything. We cannot write any letter, oh, you have to go for corona duty. So then they took over the control and power again back to within themselves. And they said that, oh yeah, bottom down approach is not good, blah, blah, blah. And then they canceled this. So that was only thing that we really had at that time. Okay. All right. It involve and communicate with all those concerned, flexible, dynamic, but it's not. If it is mainly top to bottom, evaluate and revise. Steps in planning, kind of planning structure. We have to determine the goals and then making assumptions of various elements. And we have to decide the period, examine the alternative courses of actions, and evaluating the alternatives, real point of decision making, and then to make a derivative plan. Types of managerial decisions. Some decisions are programmed, some decisions are not programmed. Just from the verbal communication, it's been done. Some is mechanistic. That is, the manager already decided that if this happens, we'll have to do this. So we have to go through this code book or the procedure book. We will say, oh, if this is the problem, what to do? This is to do. That is called mechanistic. Analytic, it involves problem with a larger number of decision variables. Some managers love to do this, that for every action, they analyze what is going on. Is it really helpful or not? And then they change, and there are a large number of decision variables. So that is being practiced by some organizations. Judgmentals, it involves a problem with limited number of decision variables, but the outcomes of decision alternatives are unknown. So in some organizations, the managers are judgmental, but this is not really good. And adaptive, adaptive is it involves a problem with a large number of decision variables where outcomes are not predictable, because we try to adapt. Sometimes some managers, they try to adapt to the situation. And when we try to adapt to the situation, we do not know or we cannot sometimes predict the outcome. Process of organizing, determine what to be done, that is the division of works, and then assigning tasks, the departmentalization, so who will do what, like this, and link the departments. That means we have to make a hierarchy, decide how much authority to designate, or then how much to whose responsibility and what, and how much to delegate. Decide the levels at which decisions are to be made, that is, whether it should be centralization or the decentralization. In Bangladesh, there are some decentralization processes, though not effective. Like if I talk about our medical school, then our principal has got some decentralized power, which was not within him before. Before, everything came from top to bottom. Now he has got some extra budget. Say, for example, that his car is having a disturbance. And if he writes to the ministry that, oh, I need a budget, it will go to the ministry. Maybe it will take 1 week or 10 days. And then the ministry will decide. And after decision, then ministry will send this decision to the Ministry of Finance, because from the health ministry, it will go to the finance ministry for approving of the budget. And then in this process, you will find 1 year or more than 1 year is already passed by. So because we faced this problem before, and there was continuous hammering from the different field level managers to the top level managers. And then the top level managers decided, okay, for these types of activities, which needs immediate action, some budgets are being allocated. So this is how our principal are now entitled to do some work by himself, by his own authority. That is a type of decentralization. Decide how to achieve coordination. Okay. Techniques for achieving coordination, you don't need to, because we don't go into detail with this coordination. Now the staffing. Staffing is the selecting and training the individuals for specific job functions and charging them with the associated responsibilities. And another definition is that number of employed personnel in an organization or program, also called workforce. That means I have to accomplish some task. So I have planned, I have organized, but now I need some people to do those works, and that is staffing. So I have to select, I have to hire. And then after I got my stuff, then I will lead them, directing or leading. Provides a positive and dynamic leadership with maximum opportunities, proper motivation of personnel, ability to command people. So this is the next step that we will have to follow. And there will be a small lecture on leadership. So before we go, we know that, yes, leading is an important aspect of this management function. And finally, the controlling concepts. So controlling concepts, there are different types of control, but you will not be asked about these different types. If you can answer, there's these 5 management functions. That is the planning, then organizing, staffing, directing or leading, and then controlling. If you can say these 5, you will get pass mark for this topic. Steps in the control process, no need to go into detail. Principles of effective control, no need. This is one thing that I have collected, and I have taken the picture. This is the great bosses or good managers should not do. You should not pressurize employees to attend the social events. Sometimes, yeah, I am here to work. If there is any social event, I will do it within my arena, my society. Why this office society? So we can invite, but we cannot force Pressuring employees to give a charity, same thing. Charity is within my own wish. So if I give charity, I will just give within my own wish. You cannot force me. Not giving the employees time to eat during the mealtime hours. Asking employees to do the self-evaluations. Asking the employees to evaluate their coworkers. Asking employees to do something that you don't want to do. And asking employees to reveal personal information in the spirit of team building. But these things are being practiced, maybe one or two, if not all, by some organizations or by some managers. But we need to be careful about these things. Okay, management skills. So commonly, there are 3 skills: technical, human, and conceptual. But then the 4th thing came out, the motivation to manage. So one manager should have these things to get the things done or to get the job done. Technical skill, that means his knowledge should be really sound. And human skills, that he will be able to work well with the others, that is human communication, the communication skill. And conceptual skill, that okay, he can really understand, foresee the overall organizational structure and function as a whole. That is the conceptual skill. Okay, and then the motivation to management. There are 3 types of skill, and 4th type, the motivation to manage. These 3 things are really common. Technical skills are knowledge and ability to make effective use of any process or technique. That is for example, the engineers, the accountant, data entry, lawyer, the doctors. So these are technical skills. Human skills, the individual's ability to cooperate with other members. That is the communication skill. Okay. Conceptual skills, the ability of the individual to analyze complex situations to rationally process. That is the overall, he can foresee the organization as a whole. And then whenever there is any problem or any situation arising, he can immediately manage and he can immediately correct those problems. Okay. What are the manager's role? Interpersonal role, and then information, and then the decision role. Okay. Interpersonal role is that he will provide the guidelines and principles of behavior employees are to follow. And in their dealings with the customers and suppliers. So that means this is very important. You know, some organizations, they have some complaints that their staffs, they do not behave well with each other. And this is what we also found in some organizations. You will go even, say for example, you will go in any restaurant or fast food center, fast food shop. You will find that the employees working there, and if you go 10 fast food shops in a row, you will find the employees behave differently from organization to organization. So the 10 organization staff will not behave similarly in a similar fashion with you, okay? But interpersonal role is to determine, is to set that, okay, what a person or what the employee's behavior will be. And then interpersonal role, there should be a leader who will give the commands and orders. And he will also make decisions. Then interpersonal role is to make liaison. Liaison is to coordinate between different departments, because sometimes we have to understand that this health is not really working alone. Health is a multi-sectorial collaboration. So we need to work with some other departments too. Information role, that means monitoring the performance. Through monitoring, we can collect the information and we can also disseminate the information. Then disseminator, after monitoring, the dissemination. Communicate to the employees, the organization's visions and purpose. And there should be a spokesperson who will really communicate between these, speech to inform the local community about the organization's future intentions. And then the decision role, entrepreneur, he will commit the organization resources to develop innovative goods and services. Disturbance handler, no need. Resource allocator, no need. Negotiator, no need. Okay, what make a manager successful? First is hard work. So a manager, if he just sits idle, you will find the employees are also becoming idle because they know that our boss is like this, so there's no harm. Then we have to do, whoever the manager is, he or she has to do the smart work. And patience is very important. Thinking out of box. So that means when you enter the organization, you will find a guideline or guidebook, and everybody has to follow the guidebook. But a manager who is managing, he has to think in a different way. Okay, if I do something different, what will happen? Okay, so this is the out of box thinking. Say, for example, you are coming to my classes and I am only giving lectures, and because this is a lecture and also this is a difficult situation. And with these explanations, I am not letting you interact with me. So what is it? I am just doing what should be done during a lecture. I will give a lecture and then you will listen, plus nothing else. But the concept is, the lecture concept has been changed by some managers. No, I will initiate discussion. Sometimes I will invite questions. Sometimes I will invite interpretation of any matter, like sometimes some teachers do. But you will find there are some classes where teachers don't give any scope to the students to speak. They only just give away their lectures and then finish. So out of box thinking is very, very effective for some managers. Reading and acquiring knowledge. So this is another important thing. You have to read, you have to acquire, otherwise you cannot deliver, you cannot manage. Ethical consciousness. So this is another important thing, that you have to be conscious about the ethics of an organization. There should be no, I shouldn't give any lecture on ethics. Ethics is not really covered here. Okay, collaborative relationship. That, yeah, the manager should have a very good collaboration with the other parts, other counterparts. Perseverance, that you have to continue. And this is our lecture. Now, you can understand this. We are now in a new era of new story. And then you will understand how a good teamwork can be done or can be achieved. The tortoise and the hare story. Do you see this? Hello, do you see?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we know this story. Once upon a time, a tortoise and a hare had an argument about who was faster. And the rabbit or the hare said, I am the fastest runner. And then the tortoise says, that's not true. The fastest runner is me. And they decided to settle their argument with a race. They agreed on a route and started the race. Fine, let's have a race. No problem, fine. The hare shot ahead and ran briskly for some time. Then seeing that he was far ahead of the tortoise, he thought he'd sit under a tree for some time and relax before continuing the race. Poor guy, he is telling. Even if I take a nap, he couldn't catch up with me. He sat under the tree and soon fell asleep. And then what happened? We all know. The tortoise plodding on overtook him and soon finishes the race, emerging as the undisputed champion. The hare woke up and realized that he had lost the race. This is the story, isn't it? Or you have any other story other than this?
No, sir.
No. But now today we will be learning about some more aspects of these stories. Okay. What was the moral of the story we learned from our school? Slow and steady wins the race, if you remember. Okay. This is the version of the story that we have all grown up with. Now, today we will be learning about something new of this story because the story continues. How? The hare was disappointed at losing the race and he did some soul searching. He realized that he had lost the race only because he had been overconfident, careless, and lax. If he had not taken things for granted, there's no way the tortoise could have beaten him. So he did the homework. Why did I lose? And after doing the homework, he challenged the tortoise again. The tortoise agreed. Okay, we can have another race. This time the hare went all out and ran without stopping from start to finish. He won by several miles. So isn't it new? And from this, a new moral emerged. This moral is fast and consistent will always beat the slow and steady. So, you see, now we are talking about the organization. Just we have finished our lecture. So if you have two people in your organization, one slow, methodical, and reliable, and the other fast and still reliable at what he does, the fast and reliable chap will consistently climb the organizational ladder faster than the slow, methodical chap. So this is a new learning from that hare and tortoise story. It's good to be slow and steady, but it's better to be fast and reliable. You see, story doesn't end here. The story is continuing. Now the tortoise did some thinking. He did some homework and he realized that there's no way he can beat the hare in a race the way it was currently formatted. And then he was thinking, how can I win the hare? How? He did some homework too. And what is it? খুব নেট প্রবলেম করছে ইউটিউবে আপলোড আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে আপলোড দেব ইনশাআল্লাহ, don't worry. Okay, so how can I win the hare? And he did some homework, and after the the homework, he came up with some idea, and he again challenged the hare to another race. But he said, our route will be different. The hare agreed. Okay, what is the route? Yeah, they started off. In keeping with his self-made commitment to be consistently fast, the hare took off and ran at top of speed until he came to a broad river. Because the tortoise set the finishing mark on the other side of the river. Here, the finishing line was on the other side of the river. So the hare sat there wondering what to do. In the meantime, the tortoise trundled along, got into the river, swam, and to the opposite bank, continued walking and finished the race. So you see, the story is evolving over and over in time. And then the hare is thinking, what should I do? Now, we are finding some new morals. First, identify your core competence, and then change the playing field to suit to your core competence. So this is also true in our organization. If you are a good speaker, make sure you create opportunities to give presentations that enable the senior management to notice you. So you have to be clever, smart in showing your skill that is not present in others. Then you will be always very quickly notified by the top management. If your strength is analysis, then make sure you do some sort of analysis and do some research, make a report, and send it upstairs to the top management. And then the organization will learn, oh, he knows these analytic things. He knows the research. We need this because we don't have any others. So if you know some good skill, just don't keep it within yourself. Try to create the opportunities so that you can show your skill to others. Okay, working to your strengths will not only get you noticed, but will also create opportunities for growth and advancement. Oh, the story hasn't ended. Still, the story is continuing. The hare and the tortoise by this time had become pretty good friends, and they did some thinking together. Both realized that their last race could have been run much better. That means they wanted to have another race, but they wanted to have the race in a different manner. And it should be their last race because they have become friends. So they decided to do the last race again, but to run as a team this time. So they wanted to run as a team. So an organization, each party of the organization should understand that we are a team. So then, okay, how really we can be a team and then run the race? You see, they started off, and this time the hare carried the tortoise till the riverbank. The tortoise took over the river. He swam across with the hare on his back. And at the end, on the opposite bank, the hare again carried the tortoise, and they reached the finishing line together. They both felt a greater sense of satisfaction than they had felt earlier. So now again, there's a moral of this story. It's good to be individually brilliant and to have a strong core competencies. But unless you are able to work in a team and harness each other's core competencies, you will always perform below par because there is always the situations at which you'll do poorly and someone else does well, and vice versa. Okay. Teamwork is mainly about situational leadership, letting the person with a relevant core competency for a situation take the leadership. There are more lessons to be learned from this story. Note that neither the hare nor the tortoise gave up after failures. So they failed, but they didn't give up. The hare decided to work harder and put in more efforts after his failure. The tortoise changed his strategy because he was already working as hard as he could. In life, when faced with failure, sometimes it is appropriate to work harder and put in more effort. Sometimes it is appropriate to change strategy and try something different. And sometimes it is appropriate to do the both. Depending on the situation, we have to change our strategy or modify our strategy. The hare and the tortoise also learned another vital lesson. When we stop competing against a rival and instead start competing against a situation, we perform far better. That means we have to think that the person is not the main thing that I am competing with. The situation is the main thing that I am competing against. So from this, we really learn the essence of an organization, essence of out-of-box thinking, essence of working together as a team, and essence of development and promotion and better performance. So you see, one story gave us very many things to discuss and to ponder about the organization and the management. Is there any question so far?
No, sir.
Okay, you want to remain within this top-down approach. You don't want to come up with something else. All right. So now because we are medical students and we will be doctors, we'll be working with the health system, we have to understand this thing also. Health is the outcome of teamwork. There is a health sector where the doctors, the nurse, the paramedics, and other auxiliary staffs are working. But there is agricultural sector also, because the agricultural sector, they bring about the planning of production of foods. And if the food quality is not good, our health will not be good. So it is related with each other. Law enforcing sector, very, very important, because if I'm driving and no one is abiding by the law, there will be accidents and my health is in danger. So law enforcing sector is also important. Environmental sector, if the environment ministry, they do not work properly to keep the environment clean, then my health is at risk. I may have some communicable diseases or the vector-borne diseases. So these are the things that I might have to face. And also the society. Society is a very important stakeholder of health. One society, if they are not really aware enough, the whole society is really practicing the rich food consumption. The society has become so mechanized that they do not cook at home. Every time they go to the fast food shop and then finish their eating. So this will also determine our health or disease. So now there's a small history that had happened. This person, probably, I don't remember, probably he was from Brazil. In 1980s, he was being given, or Brazil or Mexico, I don't exactly remember. He was appointed as CEO of Coca-Cola in the 1980s, because in 1980s, Coca-Cola faced a very big competition from the Pepsi. And you know why? Anybody knows the history? Any idea?
No, sir.
No idea. Pepsi, they have taken Michael Jackson, the top singer at that time, to do some advertise for them. And after Michael Jackson advertised, Pepsi went up, soared up. And then Coca-Cola was really struggling at that time. And his executives were Pepsi focused every time and intent on increasing market share of 0.1% a time. So Robotos decided to stop competing against Pepsi and instead compete against the situation of 0.1% growth. Okay. So he thought, okay, I have to work with the growth. If I can improve my growth, no matter whatever Pepsi is doing, let them do their work. I have to increase my growth by only 0.1%. If I can do this, that's it. I'm successful. I don't have to compete with Pepsi. Then he asked his executives, what was the average fluid intake of an American per day? The answer was 14 ounces. What was the Coke's share of that? Only 2 ounces. Roboto said Coke needed a larger share of that market. The competition wasn't Pepsi. It was the water, tea, coffee, milk, and fruit juices that went into the remaining 12 ounces. The public should reach for a Coke whenever they felt like drinking something. To this end, in this world, first time Coca-Cola company put up vending machines at every street corner, and the sales took a quantum jump, and the Pepsi has never quite caught up this Coca-Cola company since then. So you understand that in our organization, if you really want to improve, you have to keep in mind these things. The first lecture, it was merely only the descriptions, the theoretical aspects. But now I have given you the practical examples with some stories, what really could happen and what actually did happen. Because this Pepsi thing, Coca-Cola thing, it is a real scenario. The hare and tortoise, it's kind of a story, but still it's interesting to motivate improvement. So we can understand that what is really going on. All right. To sum up the story of hare and stories, a hare and tortoise teaches us many things. Never give up when faced with failure. Fast and consistent will always be slow and steady. Work to your competence. Compete against a situation, not against a rival. And pooling resources and working as a team will always beat individual performers. So to have a better, effective organization, to be a good manager, we have to really think all those points in our mind. Any other question? Any question? No question. If there is no question, we want to finish our lecture here. Okay.